Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Gora Karuna Sarvaya, Hare Krishna Prestayate. Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Gora Karuna Sarvaya, Hare Krishna Prestayate. Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Gora Karuna Sarvaya, Hare Krishna Prestayate. Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Gora Karuna Sarvaya, Hare Krishna Prestayate. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Narayana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Narayana. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Narayana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Narayana. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Narayana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Narayana. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Narayana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Narayana. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga. Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasale Gopaka Vrinda. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasale Gopaka Vrinda. Gopala Govinda Rama, Krishna Madana Mohana, Krishna Gopala Govinda Rama, Krishna Madana
Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana. Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama,
Krishna,
Mohana.
Hari Krishna,
Gopala Govinda Rama,
Hari Krishna.
Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana. Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Krishna,
Gopala Govinda Rama,
Krishna.
Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana. Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama,
Krishna,
Madana Mohana.
Krishna,
Gopala Govinda Rama,
Krishna.
Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana. Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev,
Krishna,
Jaya Jaya Gopala, Jaya Jaya Gurudev,
Hari Krishna,
Jaya Jaya Gauranga.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga.
Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa.
Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prasthaya Te.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prasthayate.
Hare Krishna. So let's continue our study program. So the main problem that we face every day of our life, because we're eternal, the main problem is how can we be very focused? How can we be directed in such a way that the mind, our whole being, is simply dovetailed in doing what is pleasing to God. Meaning our love, our meditation, our focus. We've already discussed about our eternality. So, real transcendental happiness is eternal. It's connected with us. And what separates us is our material conditioning, wherein we try to find or look and try to satisfy what we're longing, this fulfillment in our heart, happiness, or an equilibrium, or a foundation. But it's directed upon the temporary. So now, let's see it in such a way, based upon the absolute reality of our eternality. And not only that, engagement or activities we should be doing. We have been conditioned in this world to identify ourselves to be this body, to follow the mind, to be thinking, I belong to this group, to this faith, to this family. In short, the problem is centered and the root cause is materialism, false bodily identification. But we don't take it seriously because the mind is very strong. And our guidance is the mind. And the mind has so many, it's the repository or the database of all the desires and experience we had been experiencing since time immemorial up to now. It's all there. And for the living entity who is not able to realize and understand his true identity, he cannot distinguish between the desire in the mind, his senses, the search for happiness, because he identifies himself as the body, thinking is the body, and enjoyment can be achieved through sensual enjoyment by satisfying the desire in the mind. But because we have come in contact with the transcendental wisdom of our true nature, to be able to experience this experience of stability and focus, wherein our heart, we the person, the spirit soul, is in a stable foundation, we must act and engage and do what we have heard about the wisdom that we have heard from God. And what is that wisdom? So in a nutshell, to solve the problems of life, we must be in harmony with the transcendental guidance of God. And what is that all about? It's about His love. It's about His relating to us. It's about being with us eternally always, guiding us, waiting for us to make the transcendental right decision that is based upon our eternality, our position and function. So the process of spiritual life is not based upon salvation or trying to put fear in people's heart, but rather with clarity point to individuals about this wisdom of their eternality. Definitely, if you're not the body, you're not matter, you can never be satisfied with matter. And it can be seen and shown through people's life's experience and even with our experience. No matter how much we try to find a stable, eternal situation, everything just slips. You know, like a child. He just likes to play and play and play and play. You know, no cares because the parents are taking care of him, giving him whatever he needs. Then time will come. He's in the body of a young boy. Then he has more desires, fructifying, and he follows it. You're wondering, how come this guy, how come this guy, because we think he's so innocent, how come he's now turning into this monster Because the desired seed that has been planted previously is now fructifying. What are the desired seed? The activities we try to do and we try to meditate upon it and perform it and try to reap the fruits of it. And through karma, it's now fructifying. Good or bad. But if we identify with the body, we'll identify with the pain, we'll identify with the happiness. So the consciousness, as we have discussed here, the revelation of the consciousness of someone who has wisdom and act upon the wisdom, he does not see happiness or distress. He does not dive into happiness. He does not abhor distress or suffering, but rather he stays calm and watch it. He is the witness of all of this. And because of the wisdom of understanding his true nature, about our true nature, that we are not this body, he sees there's no difference between gold and a stool. Why? Because it's made of matter. The reason we want gold, because he who has the gold has the power to control, has the power to manipulate. Diba? That's why everybody's attracted to gold. Everybody's searching for gold. Like here in Bukidnon, even so-called religious practitioner, they come here, pastor, nuns, telling us, in your place, there are treasures there. You go to our farm there, full of holes. If you're not careful, you're gonna fall. You die. And there's this guy who's trying to find the treasure, looking for the treasure, on and on and on. And he did not cover the hole. And when her mom came there, fell in the hole. And for months, they cannot, where's my mama? Where's my mama? And then something's stinking there, because the person died inside the well. They're searching for gold. So everything that is connected with this false bodily identification, we try to identify with it. Either it gives us pain or it gives us pleasure. But definitely more pain. So with this wisdom of our true transcendental nature, we can make a decision to hit the nail on the head. In a nutshell, the bottom line is about being in harmony with our transcendental nature that will help us become free from the suffering and experience a connection with someone who is the source of everything, material or spiritual, the self-sufficient, supreme personality of Godhead, whom we cannot see with our eyes, but rather can be seen with our spiritual eye when we hear the process that will purify our mind, our heart, to be able to have clarity and have the spiritual intelligence to understand that yes, what I'm longing for is joy and happiness, and the source of joy is someone who is self-sufficient. To understand more about him to a certain degree. And whom should we follow? Someone who is not a materialist, who has material consideration, meaning someone who offers economic development, someone who offers salvation. In short, someone who does not know and understand his true transcendental nature. He's blind about that transcendental relationship. It can only be understood from someone who is a resident of the spiritual world coming down, and that is the spiritual master. That's why when Lord Jesus Christ came here, He's able to glorify the Father. He's able to express to all those followers who want to follow Him, who has this understanding, yes, I can engage in serving the Father. But because they're not able to understand the most basic, elementary understanding that they're not the body, their focus when they go to Jesus Christ, they follow the path of the Redeemer. They want to be redeemed. They want the gold. They want to live eternally in the body. That's why the philosophy that they're trying to teach has this foundation based upon ignorance that you are the body. And not only that, they cling to the body. They love to be the body in ignorance. That's why they put up forward this resurrection of the dead. And when you ask, how's that? It's a miracle. No, it's not a miracle. It's ignorance. Because you're not the body. Just like what we have discussed previously. For example, you meet an accident. You're in comatose. And you need blood transfusion. Your eye you're blinded, Your kidney is destroyed. Your liver, your hands is cut off, Your skin, it's burned. And they give you hate, like the sectarian feeling of bodily identification. Everybody, the Muslims, this so-called ignorance or truth that I am a Muslim and I am a Christian. They hate each other's gods. Just like in Lebanon, the Jews hates the Palestinian, They're always there watching, trying to protect themselves from invasion and from getting hurt. So what if you meet this accident and then you were in a place like we have this blood bank now. We have eye bank, blood bank, eye bank, kidney bank. Diba? We have this. And the donors are coming from Hunan, China. They give you this blood coming from someone who died from not COVID. And now, the blood that you have, there's dialysis. You know what's dialysis? It's like the blood passes to this instrument and takes away all the toxic that will poison your body because your kidney is not working. So they give you this blood coming from this Mr. Hong, or they call Mr. Chen, who died in the accident, and in his last will, whatever I have, my eyes, the whole body I have, I donate it to charity, to those individuals who want to live eternally in this world of suffering. Diba? So I can have my revenge. So they have now, somebody donates to you a kidney coming from Africa. Diba? Someone donates eyes coming from Russia. Somebody died, and the last will is, they do that, even here in the Philippines, If in case of accident, I'm donating my eyes to the eye bank. I'm donating my blood, and there are people waiting there, waiting. Where can I have kidney transplant? And then somebody dies. He's giving this will. Check if the DNA, if everything will be compatible. You can be saved from death. Now you have this eye coming from a Russian, the skin graft coming from someone from Marawi, because the war there, a lot of people died and they donated so many body parts. Now, your body now, you're thinking, I'm Filipino, what do they call the Filipino? I'm brown, So, you're given blood from a Chinese person, eye from Russia, kidney from this African guy, and you're given this heart made of machine. Because they try to transfer the heart of the baboon, but it does not, the body rejects it. They have this heart now, like machine in your, Now at the time of resurrection, they called it resurrection. When you're the body, you resurrect. Now, what about those people who have donated their blood, their eyes, their hands, their legs, their kidney? Whom do it belong? In the face of scientific evidence, it It has no foundation. And not only that, based upon the law of transformation of energy, all the forms that has been there, they put it in a casket, sealed. So at the time of resurrection, you're still there. Imagine, sadistic. You're still there, waiting. And it went really far out for those businessmen, the Scientology. About 40 years ago, they're now offering individuals, a place. Instead of mausoleum, they're gonna freeze the body to a certain degree that it won't decay. And they're just charging to you $150,000, but that's very big previously, because the inflation is not that high. It will be millions now of dollars. And they're saying, 20 years from now to 30 years, we can know now the cause of death, and we can bring you back. But look, my body's 50 years old, 63, Where are the Scientologists? They're all gone and dead. So those who's invested in ignorance of perpetuating their body, perpetuating their existence in the body, thinking they're the body, I don't know what happened to those priests. Maybe the priest was sold to the junk shop, and the body that is being frozen there, because nobody can sue them anymore, it's turning to, animal feed or whatsoever, fertilizer. So the point I'm trying to tell everyone here is about be with wisdom. And wisdom is eternal. And to be able to experience the wisdom, we must apply it in our life. And what is the wisdom? It is the source of our happiness and joy. It is our search. We are eternal, spirit, soul, a different energy from matter. And our search for happiness should be eternal, and a foundation that is eternal, transcendental to this world. And it is substantiated with scripture evidence, scientific evidence, practical evidence. How come we're not able to appreciate? How come we don't take seriously the wisdom and apply it in our life? Why? So let's hit the nail on the head. Here is the instruction of Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, who the close disciple of Lord Chaitanya. So Lord Chaitanya gave us a process, an ongoing, eternal process, the glorification of God's names. And Krsna is the source of everything spiritual and material. Everything is contained in the holy names. So the descending method, the spiritual word comes as the holy names. So even though, names, there's a difference, a gulf of difference between transcendental names of Lord Krsna and ordinary son of this world. If you say water, 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 your thirst won't be quenched. Until you get crazy, You hear sound in this world, about happiness, about the greatest love of all. But they don't know what is love. Their idea of love is still based upon satisfaction of the senses. Their heart, but they don't know that love, that happiness should be eternal and transcendental. And we're trying to still we're looking for someone who can sing the song that it's really heart-wrenching, that will connect me with real, painful, so-called love and happiness. And they're all dead. The great dancer, the great singer, all of these famous people, they're all gone. Even the king of rock and roll, he's gone. And everybody's still longing to find someone who can sing the song, that will satisfy our heart. not understanding that there's this eternal song, the glories of God, that will purify our heart, that will connect us with the world of God's pleasure. The essence of all advice is that one should utilize one's full time, 24 hours a day, in a nicely chanting and remembering the Lord's divine name, transcendental form, qualities and eternal pastimes, thereby gradually engaging one's tongue and mind in the way one should reside in Braja Goloka Vrindavan and serve Krishna under the guidance of devotees. One should follow in the footsteps of Lord's beloved devotees who are deeply attached to His devotional service. When we speak here of devotees, we're not speaking of someone who's practicing spiritual life in they're a Kanista Adhikari or making progress as Madhyama Adhikari. We're talking here about residents of the spiritual world, associate of God, and that is the spiritual master. So here's the problem we face. Since the mind may be one's enemy or one's friend, one should train the mind to become his friend. Yeah? Look, I'll tell you what's up. Those, like I was brought up in a place, everybody there smokes cigarette. Even our dean of discipline, our principal, even the priests, they smoke. But we are not allowed to smoke. If you get caught, you'll be punished, And I am always punished, Why? Because when you take this, because you're empty within, and you think, maybe, how come everybody's smoking, And even the dean tells us, no. But our principal, he does not smoke cigarette. He smokes tobacco, very big like that. And look us at every day. But we find ways not to get caught by him, Every day. It begins with curiosity. Curious ka. You get one. The first smoke, because your body has no nicotine, you get dizzy. You get dizzy. But you try again. You become addicted to the nicotine. It's not the cigarette, it's the nicotine, it's the chemical. And you're holding the cigarette there, everybody, majority of us there have one pack of cigarette. Not unlike now, it's so expensive, 10 pesos per hit. Before, it's only one rim, how very cheap. And when we were kids, I see my grandmama speaks this. What's this? The long cigar like that. It's sweet. So we don't light it, but we just bite it, And I see my grandma. My grandma, she came from Ilocos, I'm wondering, she smokes, but the fire is inside, Oh, wow, what's that? Yeah. And when I was exposed to this environment where everybody's smoking, I tried to smoke. And I got dizzy. But I cannot stop anymore because I got addicted to the nicotine. And I'm thinking, I'm gonna squeeze happiness from this, I want to get pacified. And on and on and on, You're trying to fill up this emptiness by putting up smoke. Putting in smoke in your chest, so you can have this alleviation of breathing, And not only that, you try to make, smoke with, you can do that, And you're trying to, maybe I can find happiness, with the 000 smoke, Then after a while, you're so burnt out, It's not satisfied. You try to pacify the mind. So here, since the mind may be one's enemy or one's friend, one has to train the mind to become his friend. How can you see that you're not the mind? You're sitting down here. For example, you're watching a TV. Most of us is BH TV that has so many channels, 200 channels, And you watch this show. And then you see, wow, this is weird, It gives me, butterflies in my stomach, I feel it's so ghastly. I don't want to see it, You change channel, But the mind, you open it again, look back, And then, I'm gonna change channel. So, you, the person, you can watch your mind. You can see there are so many experience that you experience, and now it's all embedded in the mind. Like it's a like sort of a niche, It's all the database, And when you're walking, you remember horrible things, because of your past experience, and you don't wanna think about it, but the mind will nag you. No. And the psychiatrist, the psychoanalyst, psychoanalyst, it's so connected with anal, psychoanalyst, or psycho, the rapist, psychiatrist, psychotherapist, psycho, the rapist. It's so connected, and they tell you, we have these drugs, so you can become numb from the suffering. So you look at the mental hospital. I've been to this mental hospital, in Manila. I was so, wow. You get depressed. People there are thinking. There's this lady, when I went there, she's being brought by the policeman because she's talking about she's the president of the Philippines, and they put her inside. And in this mental hospital, like you think it's like the happy home. It's not like that. There are jails there, for people who are really crazy, and if you go, they're gonna strangle you. They just feed them like pigs, and they wash them because it's dangerous. When they go inside, they're gonna strangle you to death. So when a person identifies himself as the body, the mind, he follows the dictates of the mind. So when you understand the difference between matter and life, when you chant the holy names of God, you get purified from this misconception because you'll be able to watch the mind. And now there is a process in Kali Yuga, in this age, and since time immemorial, for us who have been in this predicament, that we must purify the mind, and the mind should become our friend. The mind will tell you, smoke. You're empty. You look at this guy, and then you hear through your ear. You're so empty, and then you smell something. Wow. Like the ad they do, everybody's jogging. While jogging, they smell the chorizo, and everybody, because in the mind, it's delicious. Even relationship. You engage in contact with so many individuals because through sense perception, you begin to contemplate. This will give me happiness. The more you hear mundane sound, the more you hear the sound, the voice, the sweet smelling perfume, but not the nagging voice, that in the beginning, And after that, when you come home, blah, 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 you want to strangle that guy or that person already. Before you said, I love you. No, I want to kill you. Get out. And the mind, the mind is so disturbed. You identify with the mind. So what is a yogi? What is a transcendentalist? He is the witness. He has this calmness in his heart because he's satisfied by connecting himself with the Supreme Purifier through the holy names of God, not different from God. That is the transcendental science of meditation, wherein God will satisfy our internal, our craving for satisfaction. And the mind, who we follow for so long, which is a conglomeration of all the desires and activities we did in the past, the experience will always be bombarding us, because material nature will be bombarding us through our contamination, the influence of the three modes of material nature. What is food to another one is poison to another one, di ba? For example, will you eat garbage? Will you take a bath in the muddle of mud or shit? Will you take a bath in the septic tank? No. But the worms will take bath there. Now, you see, you want perfume, nice, clean, alcohol. But the flies, they don't like that. No, they immediately on top of that shit, So, if we try to follow the mind, and we don't know the difference between this body and the mind, then we have a big problem, because the solution will be dictated by the mind and our experience in this world. You want to experience calmness, peace, then the heart should be peaceful. If our heart, our love is directed upon this dead world, then definitely we are always troubled. We are always empty-hearted. So this science we must learn and understand. And it's achievable because Krsna, our Gurudev, teaches us how we can be in harmony with our true transcendental nature. So they give us advice. How can your mind be your friend? How can be? By directing it according to what is pleasing to God. Since the mind may be one's enemy or one's friend, one has to train the mind to become his friend. The Krishna consciousness movement is specially meant for training the mind to be always engaged in Krishna's business. The mind contains hundreds and thousands of impressions, not only of this life, but also of many, many lives of the past. This impression sometimes comes in contact with one another and produce contradictory pictures. In this way, the mind's function can be dangerous for a conditioned soul. Students of psychology are aware of the mind's various psychological changes. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said, whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain. So we're trying here to have this, we have received this wisdom. We have to apply the wisdom in our lives. If we want to become free from this, craziness of following the desire in the mind, the dictates of the mind. So it will be up to us. You look at the problems that we face every day. We identify with the body, so materialism, false bodily identification has caused so much problem on a greater scale. Sectarian fighting, clan fighting, disagreement, every problem we face. Suicide, divorce, abortion, every social problem is based upon getting out of the suffering. And the solution we try to follow is the misdirection that is not connected with, in harmony, in parallel with what is God's pleasure. And the spiritual master comes to guide us. He does not come here to threaten us or put fear in our hearts, but rather show us, just like a child. A child tells the mother, don't do that or touch the fire, you'll get burned. And what is burning? You have not experienced it? Or, or you go to the dentist. We have dentists here, They come here. They tell us, if you're not true to your teeth, then your teeth will be false. Yeah? But, the kids here is different. We tell them, there's cavity here, your teeth, there's cavity there. And they tell, it's so expensive, I'll just bear the pain and, I'm gonna extract all the teeth and buy, false teeth. So, no problem. So so our solution should be true, should be real, because you're real. The mind is not eternal. It's not real. It's all the experience that we have experienced and we're trying to experience through our following the mind. It's not eternal. So we must learn this science. Our study program will continue tomorrow and we'll just discuss more about it. Let's chant first so we'll have this clarity of who we are and help us to direct the mind in the transcendental realm and purify the mind from all this misconception. The mind should be the desire in the mind should be the desire that is transcendental, the desire to do the will of God. So, how can we do that? Let Krishna be the one to help us, our eternal friend, who loves us eternally. So let's chant His holy names. Haribol Namaste.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prasthaya te.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prasthaya te.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Madana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Madana,
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Madana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Madana.
Bhakti Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Bhakti Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Hari Bol Krishna,
Gopala Govinda Rama,
Hari Bol Krishna,
Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana. Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama,
Hari Bol Krishna,
Madana Mohana.
Hari Bol Krishna,
Gopala Govinda Rama,
Hari Bol Krishna,
Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana. Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Hari Bol Krishna,
Gopala Govinda Rama,
Hari Bol Krishna,
Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana. Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Hari Bol Krishna,
Gopala Govinda Rama,
Hari Bol Krishna,
Madana Mohana. Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Jaya Jaya Guru Dev Jaya Jaya Mohana Jaya Jaya Guru Dev Jaya Jaya Mohana Jaya Jaya Shri Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Guru Dev Jaya Jaya Shri Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Guru Dev Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Navine Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prasaya Te